record performance in the US. Julia Lee, why should we care? We're well off the highs in Australia.
Fantastic performance for the US market, and really what's been driving this performance in the US is very strong data that we've been seeing in terms of the economy as well as US earnings. Just having a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average over the last 10 years, and if I bring up a chart, this is what it looks like. You can see it's been a phenomenal performance, especially since the lows that we saw during the global financial crisis in March 2009. In fact, since then we've seen the Dow rallying 112%, so reaching its highest level ever. If we have a look at the other major indices, though, the S&P 500 is only 2% away from an all-time record high. The Nasdaq, though, quite far away, still about 40% away from the record highs that we saw during the tech boom back in 2000. But I guess the good news for US investors is while we've seen stocks rising, we've actually seen valuations falling back. And what's been fueling this rally is stronger earnings coming out of the US. In fact, if we look at back in 2007, when the Dow had its previous high, stocks were trading at around about 17 times our forecast 2007 earnings back then. At the moment, we're seeing US stocks trading at 14 times estimated earnings for 2013. So valuations have come right back. Here in Australia, valuations aren't looking as cheap as the US. We're seeing Australian stocks trading at 15.5 times FY13 earnings. So we haven't really seen earnings increase at the same rate that we have seen in the US. And that's been a key behind this US recovery and the US stock market rising so high. I guess helping the US economy is that very low US dollar, and that's where quantitative easing has a big part. The low US dollar does make US goods more attractive overseas, and that's really helped US companies increase their earnings over time.
Sirius Resources went into a trading halt yesterday, Julia. The run-up in those shares quite remarkable. They need to deliver on request when it comes to results on exploration. What's the market tipping?
Investors are going to be hoping for more good news. Now, last Thursday, we heard of a new discovery. This was a new zone of sulfide mineralisation, which was 200 metres east from the Nova deposit. It was called Bollinger, and shareholders will be hoping that they'll be popping open the Bollinger either today or tomorrow when the new exploration results come through. Now, this is a stock in the past 3 sessions alone, it's up by 62%. Just having a look at the shares of Sirius Resources, and this is what it looks like just over the last 30 days. So you can see the last 3 sessions, just what impact those results that came through last Thursday really had. So we are expecting for this to be big news for the stock. But if I change the graph to a 1-year view, it's even more impressive. I mean, this is a stock that 1 year ago was trading around the half-cent mark, and now we're seeing it around the $3.30 mark. That's an increase of 5,972% over the past 1 year. Now, I guess the key here is that they're finding nickel mineralization, and they're finding it at what has not been seen in Australia. They've seen the same type of patterns in Canada, and when they've seen it in Canada, they've seen these very large nickel deposits. So Sirius Resources, it's going to be an exciting couple of days for shareholders. There's been a phenomenal performance so far. The last 3 sessions up by 62%. The last year up by more than 5,900%. But we'll be waiting on those exploration results. And of course, the share price very much hinging on those exploration results coming through.
Flag a profit warning. Shares were pressured heavily to the downside. Julia, let's finish on this one. In the space of a month, the tide has turned, it would seem. The stock spikes almost 8% this session on the back of some broker upgrades.
Yesterday, the shares came under pressure, but brokers much more positive on Nufarm. We've seen a couple of broker upgrades coming out this morning. Now, yesterday, the company came out to say that they had lost the exclusive distribution rights for Roundup, but saying that they are still expecting to be quite a big power in that phosphate market. And of course, if we have a look at Nufarm, I guess what this means for the stock is that they're going to reduce their costs, which was involved in this exclusive distribution agreement. So altogether, I think brokers have become a bit more positive on the stock. We've seen Credit Suisse come out with an outperform on the stock, and that's a pretty big jump from their last rating of underperform. And we've also seen Macquarie raise their underperform rating to a neutral, UBS staying neutral on the stock. But we did see the shares under pressure yesterday, although the company did come out to say that the announcement shouldn't be material, but altogether it does look like Nufarm shares doing well on the market today.
All right, well, there